Hello, welcome everyone to Her First Million, a YouTube channel tailored exclusively for women business owners in traditionally male dominated spaces like manufacturing, the trades, technology, attorneys, CPAs, you know the drill. I'm Amanda, your business chaos sorter and host with Her First Million. I am dedicated to providing you 3 different segments that are set to transform your business. The 3 different segments are this: love your numbers. That's where we unravel the complexities of financial management and demystify the numbers so that you can confidently optimize your business for greater profitability. And then second is a segment called Ask Amanda. That's where your questions take center stage and no question is off limits. Whether you slide into my DMs for privacy or you share your inquiries in the comments below, I am thrilled to have you here and to share insightful answers to you back so that you can make sure that your business is going in the right direction. And the segments that I'm most excited about are the interviews. That's where I sit down with trailblazing women entrepreneurs who have excelled in industries traditionally dominated by men and others who support them in really interesting ways. In these interviews, we unearth the strategies, navigate through common and uncommon challenges, and we uncover well-kept secrets that have led many to their many exceptional women to their coveted million and beyond. So today, right here, right now, we are live to have one of those conversations. We're going to be talking to Kat Halushka. Her story is set to inspire. Her insights are set to transform, and her journey is a testament to the incredible potential that waits inside of each and every single one of you. So thank you for being here. Hi, Kat.
Hello, hello. I'm so happy to share some of the tidbits of my journey, but
Oh,
also really support the women because let's be honest, we all rise together.
yeah, we do. Thank you for that. Heck yeah. I'm going to give that a heck yeah. Can you give me a little bit about who you are and your story?
Absolutely. I have a background as a complete computer nerd, actually. So I'm a
Mhm.
computer programmer. My first business was a web design agency. And somewhere along the way, I just noticed how hard it is to actually excel as a woman in
Mhm.
any corporate environment. So that was a big part of my journey is I was shoved in the cubicle somewhere in the corner. And every time I would talk to the management, which of course was all male management, every time I would bring up any kind of ideas or any excelling within the company, it was
Mhm.
sure shut down as like, oh no, it's okay, pat on the head. Just,
Mm.
you go back to your cubicle and keep doing what you're doing, even if it
Wow.
was things that really didn't make any impact in the business. Because at some point, I really found myself getting to that job and grabbing the back of my chair. And I just had this profound, very loud voice in my head that said, "You're wasting your life."
Wow.
And truly, I felt that. I felt that in my whole body, that devastation of not being able to share, to create impact, to create a difference for other people, even within the company, never mind their clients and other teams and organization itself. I
Mhm.
really felt like I was trapped in a cage, or a cubicle, right? A lot of people call it golden handcuffs, right? I was
Yeah.
very cushy job, was very nice benefits, but truly felt like that impact that I wanted to create in the world was nowhere to be found, and it was not on the table. So I just knew I had to quit. I knew I had to quit.
I want to commend you for listening to that voice because there are so many times that we as a society, we learned to work. We learned to go into jobs. And what you had was a moment, a disruption moment.
Mhm.
And you heard that there was something bigger for yourself. And I don't feel like everyone follows that little voice. So thank you for following that little voice because I'm sure you make a big impact now. And I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that. So tell us about how Profitable Impact Academy came to be from that, golden handcuff situation over to building something amazing here.
Yes, and all it came to is really my desire to create a community for women entrepreneurs to come together here locally where I am. It started out pretty small. I just kept running into at different events women who felt very similar. They were
Mhm.
trapped, whether it's corporate or sometimes it's their own business. They felt trapped. They didn't know what to do. They felt very lost and they felt very lonely.
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I remember the first few weeks of entrepreneurship and realizing, oh, there is no cooler chat. There is nobody to gossip with anymore. There is nobody to talk through an idea. It was just me. It was just
Yeah.
me talking to me in the four walls of my own house, trying to figure out what are my next steps.
Mhm.
And so it actually started at one of those events. I showed up to an event, someone invited me to speak. And after all was done, we were putting away chairs. And I just turned to a handful of people who were left behind and said, you know what? Why don't we all get together at my house next weekend and let's just hang out? Like,
Mhm.
we're a handful of entrepreneurial women who literally don't even get to have a team anymore, an office environment, a community, right? Because most of the jobs, although it could be tiring and, all of those things, it's still a community, right? And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, when you lose that community, you start seeking for something else. So I invited a bunch of girls over to my place and we
Mhm.
had such a good time.
I
We had
bet.
such a blast. We
Yeah.
laughed until we had coffee coming out of our nose. Like, we giggled like little girls. We shared stories. And that moment, I knew that there's something there.
Mhm.
There's something within putting powerful people, powerful women all together. And
Mhm.
no wonder that within just several weeks, I have seen how each one of those women have supported, have raised, have praised, referred to, supported in so many different ways each other, and how
Mhm.
they all helped each other grow.
That's
So
so cool.
originally, that was my business. So Profitable Impact
Mhm.
Academy started as a place for women together. We've expanded since and opened up the doors to many different types of people and genders and all of those things. Like, anybody is welcome now because some of the things definitely have shifted in a few years. But originally, that's what it started from. It's just a bunch of I still call us girls, a bunch of girls
Mhm.
around fire with s'mores and some tea and coffee, snorting,
Mhm.
laughing at each other,
Mhm.
and knowing that that community, that feeling, that togetherness is going to help us all.
And it feels like what you ended up doing was kind of chasing, I call them chasing goosebump moments.
Yeah,
You feel like when you're doing the thing that you are meant to be doing, it's very simple and it does not feel like work. It feels like, holy cow, I cannot believe I am in this position that I get to do this for a living. And that's how you started just feels so very also feminine. I mean, bringing community and, impacting and sharing stories and helping each other is a very traditionally that's kind of what we do anyway. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I actually had a moment with my partner yesterday, and I was just typing out a message to one of my friends, and we were talking about an event that we're hosting together and just planning, right? And my partner looks over at me and says, "Hey, can you stop working? Like, it's an evening." And I say, "Work? This is not work." So it's interesting to see the perspective and how perspective changes when you do things that you are really passionate about and you are really excited about and don't feel like work.
Mhm.
But for other people, it might look like it.
Yes, yes. And I was just talking to an entrepreneur too earlier today, doing a staff meeting with them. And then afterwards, it's so different as an entrepreneur and then having staff. You have you have to understand where quote unquote normal people are coming from. And that just reminded me of what you just said, which is, our partners might have a normal job, which mine does too. And they see me working and they're like, oh, what, I mean, what are you doing? You can turn it off. And I'm like, well, oh, I don't even like, I'm having so much fun. I don't even see it as work. Going back to, because what you're doing is helping people reclaim their time and their power. They might be feeling overwhelmed in this position. So, first, can you set the stage on who are the people that are coming to Profitable Impact Academy, and how do we know that we're in the right place? Who is it for?
Yes, so we actually work with a lot of online entrepreneurs. And when I say online entrepreneurs, it's really entrepreneurs who have a knowledge that can change the world and they
Mm-hmm.
want to share it. Right. So
Okay.
it can look in many different ways. It can look like putting together a course or an event, doing a show just like this one, right? Doing coaching, consulting. There's really no limit to how you can share your knowledge and impact others, right? So we really enjoy helping them implement some of the key strategies that we noticed make life and business so much easier, but also way more enjoyable. And
Mm.
one of those strategies is doing public speaking to inspire, motivate people, to drive them to what it is that you're offering to them.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's one. Can you tell me a little bit about what are some of the biggest challenges entrepreneurs face that you see, and how do they overcome those?
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about the whole like not knowing what to do next. And you're
Mm-hmm.
probably familiar with the whole throwing noodles at the wall, or some people call it throw mud at the wall, right? And you kind of
Mm-hmm.
try to figure out different strategies. And to be transparent, you eventually figure it out. If you throw enough noodles against the wall, one of them is going to stick eventually. But the challenge with that is, especially if you are like myself and you have that calling and you immediately take action and quit your job without a plan or a
Oh,
savings
whoa,
account
whoa.
and a big mortgage, then perhaps, throwing noodles against the wall and trying to find what's actually going to work is just not fast enough.
Mhm.
Because, hey, you have bills, I have bills, my mortgage is coming out regardless whether I have income or not.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so it's just not an option to not have income. So that's step
mhm,
one that I really enjoy working with entrepreneurs on, is replacing the income that they had. And that's usually the hardest part, is how do you actually generate those first 100K? For some people, it's 200K, so that you can live your life.
mhm,
Because if you are coming from a place of starving, it gets very difficult to pour from your empty cup and change
mhm,
lives and impact others. So step one is help yourself so that you can help others.
mhm,
And really the easiest, cheapest, fastest strategy that you can use is stepping on the stage, whether it's virtual or in person, and share a new message.
mm,
Like, I bet you anything, every show that I've done, and I bet you anything, this one is no different. I will have people who will reach out to me, and I will have people who will forever be changed. Now they got the little plant seed, right?
mhm.
Of knowing that there is the strategy that they can easily implement and start using that will actually produce quick results.
That's
Now, to be
amazing.
fair, public speaking is also one of the, highest fears in the world.
Mhm.
Some people, right, are scared more of public speaking than dying. So there is a
Oh,
little bit of
really?
work involved in shifting out of that fear and into the power, right?
Wow.
So people will still encounter different obstacles when it comes to it. But as you can see right now, I'm in my house. A very basic setup here of a little bit of light so you can actually see my face. I have
Mhm,
a good microphone, and that costed like $100 to set up. But
mhm,
now I can do unlimited interviews. I can talk to people. I can share the message. I can share some of the strategies that work. And even if people don't end up working with me, but they implement it, they will impact several more people who will impact several more people who will impact. This is the ripples of impact, right?
that is so great.
Where you just end up creating a completely different environment for entrepreneurs
Mhm,
where they can actually create those ripples of impact without having to do the grind, the hustle, the devastation of failing, because a lot of people decide they failed before they ever try again, right?
mhm.
the going back to have to go and get a job, not because you want to, because there's nothing wrong with that if you want to, but because you have to, because you
Mhm.
have bills to pay and you got to feed your family.
Mhm.
Right. So it makes a huge difference to just implementing something that's going to make it easier.
I feel that speaking is such a powerful tool for lead generation. For those of you that have staff and 500K and above in revenue, this is very pertinent to you as well. What she's saying. One of the things too that I think of, Kat, is with that fear, the fear of being out and speaking our stories. I remember the first time I really told my bakery story, I almost I think I did tear up. My voice was shaking. There's a piece of vulnerability that comes on stage with us,
Yeah.
but I can't remember who I got this from. It was somewhere in my learnings. I had heard, when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking for me.
No.
I'm speaking for others. So, my story, the reason why I share my story is that so the person that's going through what I went through, similar to what I went through, can hear it and rise above it. So, I always think about that whenever I speak on stage or online or wherever it is that I'm just a vessel. And this
Right.
story is a propelling message to make sure that no one fails as I did. And I love that you're championing other folks to do that. That's awesome.
And I just spoke literally last week in front of over 100 entrepreneurs, and right in the beginning of my presentation, right in the beginning, not even 5 minutes in, I like crying, like full crying,
Oh
like not
no.
tear up, full crying. And I had people come up to me after, and the one thing that they said is, "Thank you so much for not apologizing."
Yes.
Because there's power in those tears. There's power in sharing your story. There is power to being authentically you. And a lot of us grow up with very different messaging when it comes to speaking up and speaking out, right?
Mhm.
Be quiet, adults are talking, right?
Mhm.
It's okay, just be quiet. You don't need to share, right? Raise
Mhm.
your hand before you speak. There's all those
Mhm.
messages that are coming at us at a very young age. And so when we grow up and we finally get to share, we feel like we have to downsize ourselves.
Mhm.
You got to play
Mhm.
down. You got to be smaller.
Mhm.
So one of the things that the hidden benefits of public speaking that I like sharing about is actually uncovering authentic you. Having an ability to be yourself in the room no matter the circumstances.
Mhm.
You cried? That's amazing. You just changed someone's life in the room who thought that they could never cry
Mhm.
in front of others or never mind on stage. That
Mhm.
you could be vulnerable and, in my case, still have people purchase something before I even finish the talk,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So it gives other people permission to be themselves.
Right. That's so cool. And so, hearing, solo entrepreneurs, people who are starting these businesses, um, there's a culture of freelancing that's, emerging and has been. How are you seeing the small business businesses like this disrupt the dominance of large um, corporates out in the world and changing the world as we know it, really?
Yeah, so I think there's predominantly, when you look in the industry, the big organizations and then small businesses and solopreneurs,
Mhm.
they just show up very differently. Now, let's just start
Mhm.
by prefacing here. Big organizations spend tens, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising.
Mhm.
There's a reason why in some cities you will be driving on the highway and I swear there's like 20 Rolex advertisements on billboards. Must be
Gotta
that
hit all of those
right.
impressions right away.
Like, it's insane. But as small business owners, we can't afford that. I can't afford
Mm.
to pay for 20 billboards on the most traveled highway in LA. But also you got to look at it from perspective of having a superpower as a small business. And our
Mhm.
superpower is we can show up as us and authentic selves. We can share the stories that are so much more relevant to people on the other side than any big organization or corporate ever can, because they have to go through, oh gosh, so much red tape
Oh,
before
yeah.
they can post
Mhm.
anything. By the time they do that, the speed of implementation is never there. They become
Yeah.
irrelevant quicker than some of their ideas. And so a lot of the times when it comes to marketing yourself and putting yourself online on social media, on any kind of advertisement, really, you will see the big organizations, they have to make it so generic that it relates to everybody.
Mhm.
We don't.
Mhm.
I can pop up a camera and share a video like I did earlier on Instagram on my stories saying that I'm going to be on the show and have my dog in it. And
Mhm.
people love it. It probably will be one of the most liked videos this week.
Mhm.
Corporations don't have that power. They don't have the personality behind it because it is a very big organization. How do you capture a personality of 20 million people or 20,000 people? It becomes
Mhm.
very difficult. It has to be generic. So I actually do think that small businesses and solopreneurs have a superpower when it comes to branding, because they can really show up as themselves, show what their values are, and show how their business is different.
I absolutely love that way of talking about it. I just did a short on YouTube yesterday, evaluating the Super Bowl commercials. And it's $7 million per 30-second slot. And every commercial, every time I was like, not effective, not effective, not effective, because it doesn't have the full conversion equation that I teach. It's direct response marketing. But that's at the crux of what you're getting at too, is the personality. Like,
Yes.
but small business owners mimic the large companies when it comes to their marketing. And that's a lot of times where we see people fail.
Hmm. Absolutely. And that's one of the things to pay attention to is don't copy others. You can get inspired, but it still has to be you,
Mm.
because you never know what are the 200 steps that that person took before they filmed that one video or that one commercial or created that one image. And this is what I think creates this imposter syndrome too, right? For a lot of entrepreneurs out there, is when they start comparing themselves to someone else and how their videos are so much better and they get so many views and they're just doing it so much better and they show up better. And I'm sure some of you thinking, well, of course you're a better speaker because, and you come up with a laundry list of things of why you were not that good.
Mhm.
And it's tough. It's really tough to shift out of that mindset, shift
Yeah.
out of the comparison.
Mhm.
This is where I just was talking this morning, actually, with a client, and I was saying that the good thing about having those thoughts is you have to remind yourself you're still in control of your thoughts.
Mm,
Feel
mhm,
it, go as deep as you can, but don't stay there.
mm,
They're all valuable. All of
mm,
those feelings and thoughts are valuable. It is really valuable to go as deep as you can, because what's going to happen is you will come up with a laundry list of all the things that you're not doing right and you're not
mhm,
good at and all of those things. But then find a way for yourself to shift out of there so you don't get stuck. For me,
mhm,
often I will just ask myself questions, or I actually have my person on the speed dial. So my
mhm,
person on the speed dial, I will call and I say, hey, it came to my mind this morning that this little dry spot on my face, it looks like a black eye, and I'm probably gonna look really terrible on this show, and I probably should just cancel it.
mm.
And my person is like, "What are you doing?
Mhm.
Who cares? It's not about your little spot
It's
on your
not
face. It's
about
about
you.
the people who are going to be on the other side, and you're going to share that one thing, whichever thing that will be, that will change someone's trajectory forever."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it snaps me out of it just like that.
Oh,
because
that's
all of a
so
sudden
cool.
that invalidated all of the fake thoughts that I created. I'm not good
Mhm.
enough. I don't look good enough. I don't deserve to be on the show. I shouldn't even speak if I don't look perfect, right? My voice is just coming back. It's going to be all raspy. People are not going to enjoy even listening to this. Like, I can come up with millions, but at the
Oh,
end of
yes.
the day, got to snap out of it.
One of the things that can really, those of you that are listening, that can really get you through that feeling of just getting in your head about all of this stuff is to, just as she was alluding to, that she did this morning, go live on your Instagram, go live in your stories and just speak. It only lasts, if you put it in the story, it's only there for 24 hours, or you can delete it if you really, really hate it. But practicing and putting in those reps is so important. And I have to just make a note too that in my Instagram, you can just see like I'm just getting a little bit better and a little bit better each and every time. So there's just like this like ups and downs, it's just like your learning curve, and each one of us has a different personality and a different way about going about this, that makes it where we resonate with other people. So your timing isn't going to be the same as anybody else's. The cadence, what you talk about, what works for someone else might not work for your audience. So just, learn, and like I think what you're saying is look at what other folks are doing, but also be just true to what you're talking about. And again, going back to, it's not about you, it's about the impact that you want to make in the world. So,
And so
um,
one of the things that I started doing and I encourage people to do as well is as you're going into that comparison, because it's going to happen. So say you're
mhm,
scrolling through Instagram and you saw a video and like, oh my God, this is such an amazing video. Like I should make one exactly like that.
mhm,
I encourage you to think about what is it that you liked about the video and make a video about that one piece from your
mhm.
perspective.
Yes.
That is really going to take you out of the comparison and into having a valuable perspective to share that's your own.
Mhm,
Because that's what it's about. People want to hear about your opinion. They follow you for a reason because you have something that they're looking for, whether it's information, whether it's inspiration, whether they like you and you make them feel good, they're there for a reason. And so share a little bit piece of yourself, not someone else, but what did you think about that video? Why did you think it's good? Share that piece. And it's going to be so uniquely your own that nobody can ever compare or even say that you were inspired by some other videos.
true. So one of the last questions is, what advice would you give entrepreneurs who feel overwhelmed by the demands of running their business?
That's a great one. Is there an entrepreneur that doesn't feel overwhelmed without a team? I'm not
I
I'm not
mean,
sure.
I had
The
20
reality
people and I was very overwhelmed. So I don't,
yeah,
yeah.
there's one thing that I do for myself that helps me a lot, and it's time and energy audit. So
Mhm,
I every once in a while when I start feeling really overwhelmed in my business, like I'm talking about paralyzing overwhelm,
mhm.
like the one where you sit down in the desk and you feel like you have so much to do that you just don't want to do
Can't do
any of it.
any of it. Yeah.
My ADHD kicks in during that time personally, and I start doing everything.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and so for me, what I do is that time and energy audit, all it is you're going to track exactly what you're doing in 15-minute increments, whether you do it on paper, spreadsheet, whatever works for you. So first you track what you do, then you go back. 3 days is a good mark, okay? So you go
Mm,
back after the 3 days and you're gonna rank your energy when you're doing those things for every 15-minute slot. So just go ahead and you can pick like 1 to 10, 10 being I love doing it, 1 being like I feel so drained doing it. It's killing me
mhm,
inside.
mhm,
Find those low numbers, I'd say 5 and under, and find who else can do it.
mhm,
So hire someone, outsources, exchange of services is a great option. This is how I started in my business. I couldn't afford to hire a team when I started. I totally get it. If you are at a mark where you already have a team, this is a really great tool for you to identify that gap on why
mhm,
you still feel overwhelmed and what's the next hire should be. For me, I did everything backwards. So when I did that, I was like, oh, I really need someone who does all the technical things in my business. And I
Mhm.
hired this person. And then very quickly, I became overwhelmed again. So I did an audit again. And I was like, okay, I'm missing something.
Mhm.
Turns out the really first person, the very first things that you should be taking off of your plate are your admin tasks
Mhm.
because there's so many of them. Being in
Mhm.
charge of the calendar, the emails, the constant to-do lists, the answering everything, the booking the podcasts, making sure I have all the information, having
Mhm.
to follow up with people. All
Mhm.
of those tasks can be done by someone else, relatively affordable.
Mhm.
Sometimes if you go into different countries, very, very affordable. And they are very simple to learn.
That's amazing. That's a really great tool for people to know. Thank you so much for that. Thinking about your entire journey, what's one thing that you would like to change? If you could change it, what's one thing that you would have changed?
Ooh, I would get myself on stages sooner.
Mm,
So one of the things that was the beginning of my career, I actually worked for someone else doing public speaking and selling from stage other people's products.
yeah.
And I definitely undercharged for that. So the show is called Your First Million. I made a lot of millions for other people.
Yeah.
Definitely like undercharged big time for that. Um,
Gotcha.
and that's one thing that I wish I did sooner for myself is go
Mm.
through the fear of doing the talk to sell something that's mine because it's always harder when it's your own because you have
Oh,
that
yeah.
personal attachment because it's your baby, right? You created it. I really wish that I did that sooner. And
No.
hiring an executive assistant obviously is the second one, clearly, to
Oh,
avoid the overwhelm.
yes, yes. So could you recommend any resources, books, workshops that have influenced you in your journey for folks?
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk about three of my favorite books. If you haven't read them, this is a must read if you're in
Okay.
business. And it doesn't matter if your business is just starting out or you're damn close to a million or around there, you will find them very valuable. There's the classic one by Russell Brunson. It's called .com Secrets. It's just about online marketing. It hits all
Mhm,
the basics. And at first, it feels like, but I don't need that anymore if you're those
mhm,
folks closer to a million. And I'm going to tell you right now, this book is going to cover a couple of things much deeper than you ever thought about, like offer creation and niching down.
mhm,
Um, yeah, this will really help you get revenue up in your business. Then this one is not talked about very much. It's Chet Holmes, The Ultimate Sales Machine. This talks
mm.
about a lot of different marketing techniques. One of them is speaking, doing events, doing lunch and learn, things like that. Life
Oh, nice.
changing if you have high ticket offers. So
Okay.
if you're a service provider, any financial services, accounting, you provide services to professionals or big organizations, this is the one. And I don't have my third favorite because I gift them quite often, but I'm going to talk about it. It's the book called Rejection Proof. And
Mm.
that one is specifically for your mindset. It's a very easy read. It reads like fiction. It's very entertaining. It's a journey of a guy who decided to go through rejection therapy for 100 days. So for 100 days, he would do one thing and ask for one thing to specifically get rejected. So imagine coming up with something so crazy that you're like, for sure they're going to say no. Like borrowing $100 from a security guard or
Yeah.
asking if you can do an announcement on the plane. That book was the
So
single
good.
pivotal moment in my life and why I'm the way I am today.
Oh,
My
wow.
my business partner and my team often talk about how for them when they were flying for me for the first time, their big takeaway was when they ask you if you want cookies or pretzels, and I say both, they all just looked at me like, "What? You can ask for both?" And then I asked for a whole can of Diet Coke. How dare I?
Wow.
How but I got
How
all of
dare
it.
you? You got all of it.
My team
Oh
always
my.
talks about the power of the ask.
Yes, yes, that is the power of the ask. Well, I'm going to have all of those resources linked below in the description later this afternoon for sure, Kat. That is amazing. Two books I have not heard of. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
that. And then any last words for our audience, takeaways?
Yeah. Also, if you are still feel like you're struggling to get clients, find me on Instagram. It's instagram.com/Kat Halushka and DM me the word clients. I'm going to gift you a resource I created about 17 ways to get clients that I actually used and they worked in my business. So yeah, just do that.
I love it. I will put that in the description as well so everyone can get it. Everyone in that industry definitely needs more clients. So let's go get them. Excellent. Thank you so much, Kat. Thanks for being here. And thank you all for listening to Her First Million. And if you're in a business owner that's making 500K or more and wondering where your profits are disappearing, like potentially you're making money, but where is it all going? This is your chance to fix it. I have the free profit strategy call, and it isn't just another consultation. It's a deep dive into your business to uncover hidden profits you don't even know existed. In just one call, you walk away with a clear snapshot of your financial leaks, 3 actionable strategies to boost your cash flow immediately, and a personalized profit roadmap that you can start using step by step right away. And the best part is it's zero obligation. There's no hard sales pitch. I'm just there with pure insights and valuable insights that are tailored specifically to your business financials. So if you're ready to stop grinding for every dollar and keep more of what you earn, go ahead over to unlockyourprofits.co/free call. And you can book that session now. Your profits are waiting and they're just a right strategy away. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.